Hello, my name's Chanel Hitchcock, and I'm very passionate about helping people to prevent and overcome burnout. I know this video will help you on some level if you are experiencing any stress, so it's going to be worth your while watching it. There are many pieces to healing adrenal fatigue or burnout, and each of the videos that I'm currently making addresses one of them. One of the most important ones is for you to be more aware of when you're actually experiencing stress. Many people who are chronically stressed are simply not aware when they're experiencing or pushing themselves over their physical, mental, or emotional limits. They've actually become disconnected from their body. And for them, feeling stressed feels quite normal. One of the strategies I've developed and I recommend to people is to regularly check in with yourself throughout the day. You can do this by simply asking yourself some questions, which I'll go through a little bit later. As too often, most of us are living on autopilot 90% of the time and not being present. Your subconscious brain takes over when you're not present to keep you safe. Your subconscious brain contains all your beliefs, your values, and your programs that you've installed early in your life and throughout your life. And some of them can be supportive and others can be what's described as limiting, like the habit of pushing yourself all day, overcommitting, being a perfectionist, not having any boundaries, or overexercising. Now, some of these limiting behaviours can actually stem from a person who's experienced some type of trauma. And in an attempt to numb the pain from whatever trauma they've experienced, sometimes they can adopt destructive behaviour patterns like becoming a workaholic or an overachiever or a perfectionist. They have a limiting subconscious belief that if they work hard enough, if they prove themselves, they'll earn love. So they have a subconscious belief that working hard leads to being loved. All these types of habits can potentially leave you spending way too much time in the fight or flight state, exposing yourself to chronic stress hormones, and as I've explained in other videos, causing a range of debilitating symptoms, ranging from anxiety to brain fog, to extreme lethargy, to pain, to depression, to weight gain, and the likelihood of developing thyroid, digestive, reproductive issues. Now, to do the check-in, all you need to do is ask yourself basic things like, am I tired? Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Do I need a break? Do I need to talk to someone? Am I feeling overwhelmed? I really encourage you to do this check-in and actually see what you're experiencing. Then you need to take action, because if you're experiencing any of these things like you're hungry, you're thirsty, you're tired, you're lonely, etc., then it does activate your stress response system and potentially you'll be in the fight or flight state. If you keep watching these videos, I'm going to teach you the skills of how to get yourself out of fight or flight and into rest and digest. When you're in the rest and digest, you have the best chance to heal from any disease, including burnout. You digest your food better. Your detox pathways work better. Your immune system works better. Hopefully your thyroid will work better. Your reproductive system will work better. Everything has the potential to improve when you're in the rest and digest state. It really should be your aim. Unfortunately, there's not one magical thing that you can do to get you there. It's going to require you to create a whole range of new habits and ways of thinking and reprogramming yourself. After you watch this video, you'll be able to determine which habits you have which are causing you stress and which habits you need to create. And you'll be introduced to the process of how to create those habits. It will be helpful at this point just to review the types of habits that actually cause you to experience stress and be in the fight or flight state. If we look at the broad categories that cause burnout, there's 5, and it comes down to number 1, your daily habits, number 2, your personal habits, number 3, workplace culture, number 4, any health issues that you may have, number 5, any trauma that you may have suffered during your life. It's a combination of those stresses from the 5 categories that fills your stress bucket up and then causes you to have a dysfunctional stress response system. Your stress response system controls over 90% of your body's functioning. So if you've got a dysfunctional one, it's going to cause a lot of problems. Let's look at some examples in each of the categories. Take your personal habits, for example, like doing too much, taking on too much, rushing everywhere, not allowing enough time to get from A to B. Spending too much time alone is a big stress, equivalent to smoking a packet of cigarettes. Working long hours without taking breaks, big stress to the body. Not getting enough sleep is a huge stress, and there's mounting huge amount of evidence to support the link between lack of sleep and weight gain. The reason is simple: lack of sleep activates your stress response system, putting you into fight or flight. When you're in fight or flight, your body needs to produce more cortisol to give you the energy to fight whatever stress it is. And those increased cortisol increases the blood sugars, and those increased blood sugars potentially lead to increased weight gain, insulin resistance, and diabetes directly. Most people with adrenal fatigue eat the wrong types of foods at the wrong time. They push themselves and go for long periods without eating. This is incredibly stressful to the body, as when your blood sugar drops, it needs the hormone cortisol to increase it. I'm going to go into a lot more detail in future videos about the food topic. Exercising and not allowing enough time to rest and recuperate, or over-exercising, is another big stress. Being angry, impatient, hostile. Let's look at some examples of personal habits that put you in fight or flight. Things like wanting to control everything, being an overachiever, being a perfectionist. The main habit that I had to overcome was being a perfectionist and a workaholic. That was what ultimately caused my burnout, and I had to reprogram myself. The type of people who are more susceptible to burnout are usually hardworking people who go the extra mile. They can be workaholics, and they are generally extremely nice people. But their stress buckets fill up very quickly. Now let's look at your work and family culture that keep you in the fight or flight. These things include lack of support, financial problems. Living and working in a chaotic or messy, stressful environment can be very stressful. Working in an unsupportive and toxic culture at work can be extremely stressful. And doing work that you find meaningless or you don't like can be stressful. And not getting enough support from your family and friends can be stressful. Health issues is the next category. And if you have any health issue or your body perceives that as a stress, you could be undergoing chemotherapy, which is considered a big stress. You might have a fatty liver or a leaky gut, both big stresses, or be suffering some type of infection. Any infection at all is a big stress to the body. The last category is if you have experienced any trauma. You'll be more susceptible to, in fact, 600% more susceptible to experiencing a fatigue-related disease like burnout or fibromyalgia. If you experienced any trauma as a child, it's called ACEs, Adverse Child Events. ACEs can be as simple as a divorce in the family, a family member being incarcerated, an unsupportive parent, fighting between parents, or being bullied at school. If you have been exposed to any trauma as a child, then what happens is this trauma changes your stress response system, so that you have a lower threshold for experiencing stress. And unfortunately, you stay stressed for longer. So have compassion for yourself if you have experienced any trauma. I certainly did experience trauma as a child, and most people have to some degree. I have a lot more compassion for myself now. Once I understood that I had a lowered stress response threshold and could be triggered more easily into stress, I was more determined than ever to reprogram myself and create the habits I needed that would keep me in the rest and digest state of my autonomic nervous system, and not constantly in the fight or flight, activating all those nasty stress hormones that are so damaging. The main aim of my program and most burnout programs is to help you to develop a variety of new healthy habits that will keep you living more in the healing, rest and digest state, rather than in the stressed, fight or flight survival state. New habits can be easy if you consistently practice them and combine them with proven tools that I'll chat to you about shortly. The decision of which habits to replace with healthy ones is entirely yours. For me, it was being an overachiever or people pleaser and workaholic, which pushed me over the edge to hit rock bottom. In order to create these new habits, you will need to decide which ones you don't need. And you can do that by asking yourself, does this habit support me or does it create stress? Like my habit of people pleasing or overworking. You need to establish new habits to replace your limiting ones. That values your time, your energy and health, and comes from a place of self-love. Recent research actually reveals that a lack of self-love and respect is really one of the main causes of limiting beliefs that many people have, which ultimately lead them to pushing themselves over their mental, physical and emotional limits. So how do you create new habits? The answer is you just decide which habits you would like to create and you start to practice them every day. If you do this every day for approximately 3 months, you'll develop a new habit and behaviour. To help you establish each habit, if you keep watching these videos, I will teach you how to use the incredible powerful tools of doing a short, enjoyable visualization every morning and combine that with reading through some very powerful tailor-made affirmations that I will share with you. And I'll teach you the powerful process of learning how to link one habit with another habit. It's called habit linking, and how to use a cue or a signal for each habit so you remember them. Your habits actually reflect your internal programming that controls your life. And now, if you keep watching, you're going to learn how to reprogram yourself. It does sound a little bit woo-woo, however, it's what people are doing now to change the course of their lives. Remember, to get a different result, you need to do something different. If you keep thinking the same thoughts, which will give you the same behaviour, and it will lead to the same results. By reprogramming yourself, you take control of your life. So the next video, we're going to go right into the reprogramming process. Thank you so much for watching and listening. For the complete solution to recovering from burnout, you can purchase my book 3 Months to Beat Burnout, which is available on Amazon.com and Amazon.com.au. Thank you so much.